Hey folks, we got some new Hoyt accessories here that we're going to talk about and show you about and put the little statistical information differences at the end of the video for you so you can write it down and figure out all that little information. So come along and let's check them out. Hey, welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here with PodiumArcher.com talking about the new Hoyt Carbon Super Light Quivers. They make a new two-piece model and a one-piece model. And what is incredibly interesting to me about this is that Hoyt and Matthews both did almost the exact same thing this year with their own personal quivers without knowing at all what the other one was doing, which is pretty funny when you think about that. But each of those two manufacturers came out with their own low-profile quivers because of the integrate systems that they're offering. The integrate systems allow you to basically put your quiver closer to the bow than you ever have before because your sight and your rest are now no longer in the way. But we thought we would bolt these on and see how close they truly get and how tight you can really get it to the bow. So first things first, let's do this Carbon Super Light Stretch, which is their one piece. It's a 6-arrow quiver and it comes in at 10.6 ounces. Overall physical. Sucker up. We just got a couple of these in the other day and I regret to inform all of you following along that Hoyt does not allow us to sell their accessories online, unlike Matthews that does. So you're going to have to go to your local shop to buy these, but we're still going to review it and show you what we can find about it. So these are going to be unique to Hoyts in general. So the only way that this is really truly going to be an advantage to you is if you use an integrate rest, whether it be the Hamskea, the Ripcord, or the QAD, and a Picatinny style sight, because the sight's still going to be in the way if you don't change that as well. Spot Hogg does not make a Picatinny option. Most of the other manufacturers do. Black Gold's is pretty simple. It's a secondary part that you just replace base hardware. So if you have a direct mount or a dovetail Black Gold, you can just buy the $99.95 Picatinny adapter, which we do sell on our website just in case you're looking for it. And then Excel, you can buy it as an adapter, but you can also buy it as a built sight already. I wanted to say CBE's doing a Picatinny mount. Option just released a Picatinny mount. So there are a lot of Picatinny mount options now for this system. So just FYI, there is an option, but the full advantage of these quivers is not going to be taken without integrate components. So keep that in mind. If you're not going to integrate it, this quiver is probably not going to really give you the full benefits of what it can do. And how it's designed is really simple and clean and light for what the hardware is. So we've got a RX-7 Ultra here that we're going to bolt it onto. Before I put this on, there's these stops, it looks like, for as you're sliding your quiver down so you can push your quiver to a stopping point. So when you take it on and take it off, because this does come on and off easily, it has a definite bottom, but I want to move it all the way in and see how far it'll go. Let's take that out of the equation here for us before I bolt that on. It'll be a little easier. Do that with the same one. That's these little screw positions. These holes in the side allow you to bring the quiver in closer, and this is your stop as it goes in on it. So bring that all the way in. See how tight it can really, really get. Take this off as well. I'll just leave it on for now. But this extra little extension does come off if you want to drop a little weight. There's a mount screw in it that's going to have some weight to it, and then this aluminum extension sleeve as well, so it can be even cleaner. But for today's purposes, we're just going to leave it on. For you hardcore every ounce matters guys, this screw that goes in here is awfully long, so you could probably cut it off or buy a screw that's about half as long and shave a little bit of weight, because you only need about 4 threads for full strength on any connection like that, and there's about 15 threads in this thing, so it's way longer than it needs to be. Looks like it's about a little over an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter, something like that. You could probably get away with 3/4 or half. That looks like a 1/4 screw, so that should be pretty easy to find. Almost any Ace Hardware looks like it would probably have something like that floating around. If you wanted to shave a little weight, because it is going on there quite a long ways. So and those holes are in all the current Hoyt bows, and it's a hexagonal. I want to say this will probably go back 7 years. I think they've been making the same tapered size of hexagon. I could be wrong on the exact on that, but that's what I'm thinking it is. So you put that guy on there. You can move the quiver positionings up and down, which is one nice unique thing that the Matthews one doesn't do as much. You can rotate this around and move it around. So it does allow you to move the quiver down a little bit or up a little bit. The Matthews does a little too, but I think this actually has a little bit more. But what you're looking for is where can I put this where it'll get inside the limbs. So when you look at this sucker, oh, did I not loosen that up enough? Yeah, I went moved too far at once. There you go. Once you get it set, it'll be pretty solid, but let me go ahead and, I think this is about the middle. Go ahead and tighten this down so it's not sliding anymore. There's 2 screws, one on the top, one on the bottom for tightening up that slide rod, and then you can push it in all the way to there. Now, uniquely, you might be able to use a direct mount sight and not have it conflict at all because the quiver's behind it, apparently. So in comparison to the Matthews system, this sits back farther. Now granted, you can rotate these things around and move them into different positions to move that forward, but I personally would like it back farther. The farther you get it back, the more it's going to feel like back weight, and then the less back weight you would need to try to balance out a bow. So that's pretty unique. Looks like it's got these little knobs here for taking it on and off. Now I assume if I remove that limiter I could probably bring it in even more, but then you're not going to be in any indent, and I did not rotate that correctly where those indents sit. So I got to change that. Sorry guys. It says first time I put one on, so bear with me. That needs to go to where it lines up the knob. Indents anywhere else? No. I'll back that out a little bit. One more right there. That one's going to have to rotate too. Probably got to move that off too. There you go. Make life a little easier. I guess if I'd have paid attention to that, it wouldn't have taken as long. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to drag this out here. Alright. It goes in there. Okay. That is it. Farthest indent. Okay, so out of the machine indents in the bracket, that's as far in as I could move it. Now, if you wanted to go crazy, I imagine you could do a couple of things to get this even closer, but with arrows in it, that up. You may end up really dabbling with this a lot to get it adjusted just for you. That's even high enough for this arrow. But you can take all these assemblies apart, so you can move this gripper up here if you needed, depending on how long your arrows are. So if a guy's got really short arrows like these happen to be, you can definitely run it to an individual's customized settings. Any longer arrows over there? How about the test firing arrows? I don't know if that's long enough, but I'll try it. Alright, just so we don't have to disassemble it. Yeah, that'll work. So that's gripper position number 1. And you're way behind the rest and everything right here, so honestly, you should be able to use this quiver without using integrate stuff, which I assumed you would need to, but kind of looks like you don't really need to. You should be able to get away with getting that low profile without having to buy all new components and whatnot, because as long as you're pretty tight here, if you look at this gap a little closer, there's you put a standardized rest in here, depending on how far back it sits, and it wouldn't even touch your quiver. So that's kind of ingenious. They've actually moved it back farther than Matthews has. Now, just judging off of positioning here, let's see how much this limb actually comes down. So I'm still a good ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch away from that hood. So positioning wise, I mean, this definitely can fit in a more unique position than the Matthews one would. So I would have to give them a little bit of props for that. And you could, if you wanted to modify this a little bit more, you could probably flip this bracket over and flip that bracket over and literally set your quiver right on top of it if you really wanted to. And if you position this in a manner in which your limb wouldn't come down and touch it, this is the tightest thing I've ever seen on a bow. We're going to actually compare this to the Matthews and the Pivot 2.5 tight spot to see what really gets tighter and how much room it has, but I'm willing to bet this one's going to win. So I've got another Ultra up here to put the two-piece on and see how it's different. It's a OD green one for you. Popular color. So let's take a look at that. Now on the two-piece version, it's a 6-arrow 8.2 ounce, so you are shaving a little over 2 ounces going to this system, and I'm assuming that weight's probably just in the detachable carbon rod. And that is just as simple as loosen 2 knobs and slide it off, and then the mounting hardware still stays on the bow. This one is not designed to come off. Now, food for thought for you. If you can get your quiver to balance effectively on your bow and you're carrying the weight anyway, you are better served to leave it on the bow. If you leave it on the bow's heavier. A heavier bow is more accurate on the shot. So if you're carrying it with you anyway, it's better to leave it on the bow if you can get it balanced. Now, if your bow falls right or falls left, if you're left-handed every time you fire it when you have a quiver on there, and you're not going to try to resolve that by any stabilization, then yeah, I get why you would take it off. But you're better to have it on, in my opinion. Well, that looks like it comes off too. Yeah, that's got, there's no knobs. Oh, so I wonder, you could probably make this quick detachable if you get those little knobs that come on the one-piece one. But this isn't intended to come off, so they gave you set screws, not finger knobs. It'd be kind of nice if they gave you the option for both. That would be pretty cool. But otherwise, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to move this screw down here as far as it'll let me. Looks like it comes with a replacement foam as well. So that's kind of nice. They give you 2 foams if you chew the one up. That's pretty cool.
What the prices on them?
I think they're $200. Pretty sure. We can't sell them online, so we won't have it on the website, so I didn't review the price before it went up, but I want to say I think they're $200 if I remember right. And I'm assuming that the detachable one's probably more. I know the Matthews are $200 and $250, and we currently can't sell those online either, but we're supposed to be able to sell them at some point in the future. So those ones are $249 and $199, but we just got these we got 4 of these in, and I don't even think I priced them yet. But we wanted to get you a review and a video out as quickly as possible so you can see how they fit. And if you're buying a Hoyt this year and you're not looking at this quiver, you're kind of missing out, because I'm willing to bet nothing else is going to fit on this bow nearly as good and nearly as low profile. If you can get those arrows into the bow really, really, really tight, I think you can get away without using a sidebar, to be honest. Because that sidebar is an extra, 8-10 ounces. Maybe over a pound by the time you add the V-bar bracket in there to make it work, just to try to get your bow to balance out. And if you could just run one front stabilizer instead of a front and a side, you're going to ditch a pound off of your bow. Quiver position's really important, guys, on hunting. Really, really important. Let's see here. There we go. Facing forward now that I learned my lesson. Or facing back. Which way is that? Hang on. Forward. Huh? Did it wrong again. Yeah, it looks like you could mount it forward or back. I don't know why you would do that. I would do it backwards and rotate these around. So I don't think I had enough coffee yet this morning. My brain's not 100%. Feeling a little lag.
I'm gonna go do some work. That camera overheated,
Yeah.
so it's just this one right now.
Okay. Sorry if this video's taking a while, guys, but I just figured to make one video with both quivers on it so you can compare the two. If you're buying a Hoyt, you're probably looking at one of these. Either or. So, and near as I can tell thus far, I would probably be leaning towards this version, just from the standpoint of I'm not going to take my quiver off anyway. And it's going to shave some weight, and at the end of the day, I'd like to shave weight if I can. That's a benefit for sure. It's less weight I got to carry around. Let's see here. Okay, so move it all the way in, one up, all the way down. Drop that hood down a wee bit. I wish they made these all the same size. That would be cool. But unfortunately, they're 2 or 3 different size Allens here, so you're going to be moving your wrench a little bit. So that should clear the limb. Just go all the way in there. More. Let's take a look at how that fits. Now, I said before, I would really want to use the indent, but you could probably get away with disassembling that and taking that screw off and bringing it in even more if you really wanted. And this guy, you could slide it off and flip it over and drop it down and still be in an indent to get this even tighter, I would think. But let's see how that arrow fits in there. That's pretty close. I bet you get that to where it dang near touches. I'm curious. I want to flip that over. Sorry, I'll make this video just a little bit longer, guys. Alright. One off. Oh yeah, look at that. Man, you can get that in there. Holy cow. That's the ticket right there. Flip that bracket over and man, you can suck that in to where I think you can set the arrows on the freaking bow. Right, so let's try that roughly there. No, that's going to be a little too tight. I'm going to hit a cable. Let's come out in just one. One more up, come on. There we go. Okay. And into about there. Flip my wrench again. And this is really, really awesome. I mean, really, really, really awesome. So, now I'm assuming the one piece can do this too. That's a little tighter. You go any tighter than that, and let's see if I can bring that down one more. Feels like there should be something in between these two. Maybe I jumped over it. Yeah, that's the next one. So it does look like it touches there, but it doesn't touch the cable. And man, that's really close. Like really, really close. If you take that screw off there, you could probably run that in a little more. You'd just be tightening up against a hexagonal rod. There wouldn't be an indent for it, but you could probably get that to where that dang near touches. But you get any closer than that and you shoot it and it's probably going to hit. But once again, this is behind the rest and this is behind the sight, and the two-piece looks like it's even farther back. So honestly, I don't see any downside to this. I don't see anybody. You could use any sight you want, you could use any rest you want, and you can get your arrows tighter than anything I have ever freaking seen on here. Like, hands down. So this is a no-brainer. If you are buying a 2022 Hoyt bow, and probably, honestly, anything in the last 5 years, this is the quiver you want. I don't know how you don't. Between this and the quick detach, if you really want a quick detach, you're not going to get something better, folks. Hands down. You're buying a Hoyt, buy this quiver, period. And I can't sell it to you on top of that, so it really should mean a reasonable amount to you that I'm telling you to buy something that I have no opportunity to ever sell you. This is just better for these bows, so when you're ordering your new Hoyt, or you're down at your shop looking at your new Hoyt and you settle on it, make sure to get the Quiver. It is awesome, period. Head on over to podiumarcher.com for all your archery needs, other than this Quiver, because we're not allowed to sell it, or the limb legs, or the go sticks, excuse me, because we're not allowed to sell that either. Maybe they'll change that someday, but for now, unfortunately, we can't. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow along, and we will publish the physical weights of these and the actual price, and we will go back and weigh them with an outscale and confirm that they're being honest about what these things weigh and that they include the hardware in the little notes thing at the end of the video, which is right now. Thanks for checking us out.